So let's talk about something that burns, starts a fire in my heart. A burning passion. Let's talk about guns. Now, I don't want to give the Sandy Hook killer, who was the person in the video that I started out with, the dude's face, I don't want to give him any credit for what he did, because what he did is awful. He deserves to burn in hell, if you believe in that, and he deserves a lot of other things if you're not a believer in hell. But I want to point something out. When we look at this man's picture, this boy's picture, we look at him and we don't feel scared of him. At least I don't. I'm not sure about you. I'm not scared of him. What made him terrifying was the weapons he had. If it was just him, nobody's going to be scared of this little punk. Let's call him a punk. Nobody's going to be scared of him. I'm using my hands like Donald Trump, I'm sorry. But nobody's going to be scared of him. They're scared of the weapons he used. Now I know what people are going to say. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Well, let's, on one side, let's put people hand fighting, fists, punching, duking it out. On this side, let's put people with weapons, knives, guns, etc. I guarantee these people who use weapons kill far more frequently than people who just fight. So we can't really say guns kill people. People kill people. Excuse me, I'm sorry. We can't really say people kill people, guns don't kill people. Because these people are just getting in arguments, they're fighting. They're okay. These people are getting angry using weapons. And these people who are hurting their fellow man are killing their fellow man more times than not. Let me plant this number into your heads. 32,964. That's quite of a big number. But now you put that into perspective. Let's think of what that number could be. Just let it, bubble around in your skull. Let's think what it is. That, my friends, is the amount of deaths per year in the United States of America due to gun-related violence. Now, when I say gun-related violence, I'm not just meaning, drive-bys, people shooting each other. I'm meaning accidental homicides, suicides. Let's focus on that, because the numbers, 38.4% of the people who die, so 38.4% of the 32,000 people who die per year are homicides. 2.1% of those people are accidents. Now, you might not think the accidental one is big, but these accidental deaths include children, older people, and an unlucky person who's just walking down the street and gets caught in the crossfire. 58.5% of these people are committing suicide. 58.5% are committing suicide. And that's a topic for a whole nother video. But just think of these people are using these tools to harm themselves. Think of what would happen if they didn't have those tools. Sure, they might do it another way. I can't judge. But this is like the expressway to ending it for these people. So that number, 32,000, doesn't seem big. But that's on average a year. A year. Now there's 300 million people in the United States, so that's kind of, a small dent. But think of this. We take that 32,000 average, we cut it down to days. Now, that usually is going to equal about 91 people a day who are dying from gun-related violence. 7 of those 91 are teens, children, babies. 7 out of the 91 are dying are teen, children, and babies. Children. Not children, it's children and babies. And that is depressing, because a young life should not be snuffed out like that either. I'll get to a story here in a second, but they're, getting accidentally hurt. They're hurting themselves on purpose, or, they just get caught in crossfires, which is a shame, but it's a part of life that we shouldn't have to worry about. I'm going to give you my opinion on guns here in a second, don't worry. So, let's talk about people who have guns. Look, I'm not here to tell you guys you can't have guns. That's not my right. Don't have the authority to tell you that. But what I can tell you, because it's a genuine, fear of mine, is that we are not being careful with the guns that we have. We're leaving these under our beds that are unlocked, fully loaded, that kids can play with. Why? I'll tell you a story. I was watching a documentary on HBO. It's called Requiem for the Dead, American Spring 2014. It's about gun violence. It's on HBO. It's probably on Netflix maybe. But just look it up. I'm sure you can find it. In the documentary, two little boys are playing Call of Duty, which I'm sure everybody knows what Call of Duty is. Two little boys are playing Call of Duty. One gets a smart idea to show his friends his father's guns. Now, the father, which in my opinion is at fault here because he had this stock of firearms. None of them were locked. None of them were emptied. They were fully loaded under his bed. The little boy, hey, look at this, He's playing with it. Boom. Shoots a 6-year-old friend in the chest. Little boy didn't mean to do it. It was kind of his fault. He shouldn't have been playing with those, but the little boy didn't mean to do it. Now the little boy lives his whole life with the stigma of being a murderer because that happened. A 6-year-old boy they were just playing. They didn't know any better. But let's let that sink in for a second. While we let that, bubble up in our minds, the average person, alright, the average person will own about 1 gun, 2 guns at most. But now let's think of these numbers. 20% of the people who own firearms. Now, there's more than 20% of people who own firearms, but 20% of that percentage of people who own firearms own about 64% of all firearms in the United States. There's about 312 million firearms in the United States, and only 20% own those. Why are we letting people stockpile these weapons? Why are we letting people have more than one weapon for self-defense? There's no need for that. There's just no need for having these kind of weapons. We're not... You can think in your mind that you're a militia, but you're not. If we're ever in an instance where we need to, say, martial law or something, where an event happens where we have to, then we can do this. But we're not, in the need for these kinds of stockpiles that we have. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you do. You do not need that many weapons. United States has, let me see where I have these notes here. The United States has 25 more firearms than all of the other developed countries combined. 25% more firearms. That is tremendous. Why? We have, the police in the United States have about, 900,000 firearms out of the 300 million firearms we have. So why do we as a civilian have more firearms than the police? Now, police use firearms not for good all the time, but that's for another video. So I gave you guys some numbers. Now I want to give you just a few more numbers, and then we'll start talking about opinions. Since the time of the country's founding, the War of Independence, and up until the Iraq War, there have been more gun-related deaths than all of those wars combined. Let that sink in. We are killing each other more here on our own soil with weapons than all of our wars in our United States history combined. On the terror aspect, we think of terrorism, you know, the Pulse nightclub shooting. He wasn't really ISIS. He pledged, you know, allegiance to ISIS before he did it. The Boston bombings, 9/11. These terror events killed only about, now I'm not saying this is a good number because they still killed American people, but they killed about 4,000 people. All the terrorist events within the United States time frame that we've been adding these up. And that same time frame, 406,000 deaths have come from gun-related violence. 406,000 from gun-related violence compared to 4,000 terrorist attacks. Yet we as a society seem to make terrorism the top of the list when 400,000 people have died from our own weaponry. Now, are they the terrorists? Or are we terrorizing ourselves? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. Now, I'm not saying we should take away the guns. Okay? Those are the facts. I'm not saying we should take away the guns. Would I like to? Hell yeah, I would like to. I don't think we need guns. I'm going to take my chances and worry about protecting myself with no firearms. That's my opinion. If I get, you know, shot someday, then you guys can say I told you so. But until then, I'm going to live the life that I want, gun-free. And I'm going to hope and pray for everybody who is affected by these violent acts. Because like I said, they're not all murders. More than 50% of them are suicides. Which goes back to the irresponsibility of people not putting them away and locking them up like they're supposed to. So as a closing message, you guys do you. Go out and buy your guns if you want. If you don't want to, that's fine. But it's your responsibility as a gun owner to take care of your weapons, to use them safely, to protect other people from your weapons. Lock them up, all that nonsense like I stated before. But on that same token, we gotta know that these mass shootings won't ever stop while we have weapons at our disposal. People are still gonna get shot. People are still gonna get robbed. It's gonna happen. That's just a fact of life unless something changes, which in the society that we're in, it's not gonna happen. So that's my spiel on weapons, guns in particular. To all the people out there who are against them, like me, don't look down on people who have them. Don't judge people who have them. That's their right. But it's our job to spread awareness of what they can cause. It is our job to remind people to be responsible with them. That's all we can do in any situation. So thank you guys for watching the video. It's been kind of a long one. I know. I really like these videos. I'm really getting a following, which really makes me happy because this is what I'm doing. I'm putting my opinions out there so people with like-minded opinions can kind of jump on board, and people with not like-minded opinions can think what they want to think because that's what they're going to do. So thank you guys for watching this video. It's been long. You might not have sat through it. That's fine. If you did, know that I appreciate all of you that did. Don't forget to like the video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. If not, give it a thumbs down. If you want to get in touch with me to, throw any ideas at me about another video, drop it in the comments or drop it on my Facebook page. If you guys want to get more updates from my content, you want to view my content every time it gets put out, go ahead and subscribe and tell your friends. Because the more people that know, the more people that get to watch these, they get their, tickers going. So just spread the word if you like. If you don't, go ahead. You don't have to. Thank you guys for watching. I want you to know that I appreciate you all. I appreciate you guys spending your time watching my videos. Everybody be safe out there. Don't do anything stupid. Okay? Be safe, responsible, and protect others from, these weapons if you have them. Don't be stupid, lock them up, all that good stuff. Thank you guys for watching. You guys have a good night, and we will catch you on whatever video is coming up next. Take it easy.